In 230 BC, one state, once a contender for mastery over all of China, met its end not with a final, desperate roar, but with a whimper. Its capital fell, not after a prolonged, bloody siege, but because a single crucial gateway city, its last major defense, surrendered almost without a fight. This swift, almost bloodless capitulation marked the end of an era and signaled the terrifying efficiency of a new power. Welcome back to the History Atlas. Today, we delve into the Battle of Nanyang in 230 BC, a name often overshadowed by larger conflicts, but a pivotal moment that cemented the collapse of the Han state and ignited Qin's relentless march towards empire. The state of Han, by then the weakest of the 7 warring states, saw its capital, Xinjiang, exposed after Nanyang. Its vital southern defense yielded, beginning Han's total annexation by Qin. By the late 3rd century BC, the geopolitical landscape of China was dominated by 7 major entities: Qin, Chu, Qi, Yan, Zhao, Wei, and Han. This era, known as the Warring States period, approached its violent culmination, driven primarily by the relentless expansion of the Qin state. Under the rule of King Zheng, later to be recognized as Qin Shi Huang, a singular and unyielding vision took hold: the forceful unification of all under heaven, ending centuries of fragmentation. This ambition was not an impulsive drive, but the outcome of a meticulously engineered system. Qin's formidable power emanated from the legalist reforms, first implemented by Shangyang, which forged a highly centralized, militaristic, and profoundly efficient state. Its administrative apparatus rigorously rewarded merit. Its agricultural output reliably sustained vast armies, and its disciplined military was unmatched among its rivals. In stark contrast stood the state of Han. Once a power of note, its strength had been steadily eroded by centuries of attrition and debilitating internal strife. Positioned precariously amidst more potent neighbors like Qin and Wei, Han endured incessant territorial encroachments. Its attempts at reform frequently faltered, leaving its military and economy severely weakened and hollowed out. Geographically, Han was an elongated and inherently vulnerable territory, largely devoid of formidable natural defenses to impede invaders from multiple fronts. This exposed position, combined with its profound internal weakness, made Han the most logical and accessible target for Qin's grand strategic doctrine of far attacking and near attacking, a calculated policy of eliminating the closest and weakest states before confronting the stronger ones. From King Zheng's perspective, the campaign against Han in 230 BC was not impulsive, but a cold, calculated strategic move. Han's swift collapse would not only secure valuable territory, but also deliver a profound psychological blow, signaling to the other states the terrifying inevitability of Qin's ambition. Han's demise was a preordained conclusion, a consequence of its dire geopolitical reality confronting an inexorable and methodically calculating power. The forces arrayed before Nanyang represented a profound imbalance, a reflection of the 2 states' divergent trajectories. On one side stood the Qin army, a precise, relentless machine honed by decades of legalist reforms and ceaseless warfare. Under the command of General Neishi Teng, a figure central to Qin's consolidation efforts, this force showcased formidable efficiency. Qin's military was a conscription-based apparatus, drawing from a populace incentivized by a ruthless meritocracy, where promotions and rewards were directly tied to battlefield performance, often measured by the heads of enemy soldiers. This system cultivated iron discipline and veteran resolve. While the precise strength deployed against Nanyang is not recorded, Qin's overall campaign against Han likely involved a force approaching 100,000 men, with tens of thousands dedicated to the initial push against the city. These were not raw levies, but disciplined veterans, accustomed to systematic conquest. Against this formidable power, the Han defenses were a fragile, hollowed-out shell. Han King An, presiding over a state bled dry by centuries of attrition, possessed no means to field a substantial, unified army capable of relief or meaningful counterattack. His garrisons, including those within the vital city of Nanyang, were smaller, likely poorly equipped, and undoubtedly burdened by years of their state's decline. Their morale was significantly eroded by Qin's overwhelming reputation. Nanyang itself, as a major administrative and strategic center, was designed with significant fortifications, stout walls, towers, and gates built to withstand prolonged sieges. Yet, these physical defenses were undermined by a critical deficiency of manpower and, crucially, the will to endure against an overwhelmingly superior enemy. The anonymous Han prefect commanding Nanyang faced not merely a numerical disadvantage, but the psychological weight of confronting the very engine of Qin's imperial ambition. Central to this calculated strike was the city of Nanyang. It was not an incidental target. It was the crucial gateway to Han's southern territory, a barrier King Zheng intended to shatter. As a major administrative center situated strategically in southern Han, Nanyang controlled a key pass and a main road that led directly north, unimpeded, to Xinjiang, the Han capital. Its capture was a vital tactical objective. Qin's overarching goal was swift, decisive annexation, demonstrating overwhelming power with minimal protracted conflict. This would demoralize potential allies and preclude any unified resistance. The strategic calculus was clear. Nanyang's fall would inevitably compromise Xinjiang's remaining defenses, shatter its morale, and trigger a cascading collapse. The Han capital's surrender, once Nanyang fell, would become a mere formality. This was the crucial first step in a meticulously planned sequence of conquest designed to extinguish a nation and fundamentally rewrite China's geopolitical map. Neishi Tang, commanding the Qin vanguard, executed his movement towards Nanyang with a speed that left Han with scant time for meaningful preparation. The city's defenders witnessed an immense force materialize on their horizon, not as a chaotic charge, but as a meticulously ordered advance. Thousands of banners, each bearing the insignia of Qin, preceded the rhythmic march of a disciplined army. This deliberate approach culminated in the methodical establishment of siege lines, systematically encircling the city. The sheer scale and coordinated precision of this encirclement immediately conveyed the overwhelming might now arrayed against Nanyang. The open, relatively flat terrain surrounding the city presented no significant geographical obstacles to Qin's deployment, allowing Neishi Tang to fully invest Nanyang without hindrance, securing every approach and egress. This strategic advantage ensured the city's isolation, rendering any hope of relief or breakout exceedingly remote. Within days, Qin engineers commenced the systematic investment of Nanyang. While specific records for this engagement are sparse, Qin's siegecraft was renowned as the most advanced of the warring states period, employing formidable technologies characteristic of the era. This likely included the deployment of massive trebuchets, capable of launching heavy projectiles, towering siege engines to assault the ramparts, sturdy ramming logs to breach gates, and organized mining operations designed to compromise foundations. Nanyang itself was a formidable urban center, boasting strong walls, defensive towers, and gates engineered to withstand prolonged attack. Initial skirmishes saw Han garrisons attempting to disrupt Qin's preparations, yet these were confined to localized resistance against a relentless, overwhelming tide. No major counterattacks were launched, for the objective became mere delay, not genuine repulsion. The comprehensive nature of the Qin operation its technical prowess, and its coordinated effort instilled a growing sense of inevitability and dread within the city walls. The Qin approach to Nanyang was not solely reliant on overwhelming force, but was a calculated application of strategic pressure amplified by psychological warfare. General Neishi Teng understood that his colossal army, with its reputation for ruthless efficiency, presented the Nanyang prefect with a stark choice. Qin had long demonstrated a brutal resolve against prolonged resistance, exemplified by the infamous massacre at Chengping decades prior, where hundreds of thousands of captured Zhao soldiers were buried alive. This served as a grim precedent. Conversely, Qin also offered terms of leniency and integration to cities that surrendered swiftly, presenting a clear path to survival, albeit under Qin suzerainty. The Nanyang prefect, whose identity remains largely unrecorded, faced an unenviable dilemma. His city, though formidable, was designed as a strategic strongpoint within a larger defensive network, not as an isolated bastion against an entire imperial-minded army. A protracted defense would inevitably lead to a bloody assault. The probable annihilation of his garrison and the indiscriminate slaughter of the city's inhabitants upon a breach, a common fate for those who resisted Qin. His only alternative was a pragmatic capitulation, which offered the possibility of preserving lives and securing more favorable terms for his people. The physical environment of Nanyang only deepened this despair. The vast, open plains surrounding the city, which had facilitated Neishi Teng's rapid advance and unimpeded deployment, now amplified the city's isolation. These plains offered no natural barriers, no hidden valleys, and no cover for any hypothetical Han relief force to gather or advance unseen. Such a force was, in any case, almost impossible for the weakened Han state to muster, but the terrain ensured that any distant attempt would be spotted and disrupted from miles away, rendering a counterattack unfeasible. Furthermore, the absence of extreme weather conditions, no torrential rains to bog down siege engines, no dense fog to mask sallies, no crippling snows allowed Qin's siege operations to proceed relentlessly, day after day, without interruption. This unimpeded pressure compounded Nanyang's strategic isolation, making its defense untenable. It was under this overwhelming weight of strategic calculation, psychological dread, and environmental certainty that the Nanyang prefect made his decision. This was not a military breakthrough on the battlements, but a profound strategic capitulation. He chose to open the city gates, surrendering Nanyang to Neishi Teng's forces. This act was the pivotal turning point, more impactful than any clash of arms, as it spared both sides a costly engagement. The surrender occurred swiftly, allowing Neishi Teng to conserve vital manpower, siege equipment, and precious time. It was a testament to his strategic acumen in effectively leveraging Qin's fearsome reputation, avoiding a direct confrontation that Nanyang's formidable fortifications would otherwise have demanded. For the Han state, this decision was a stark, agonizing acknowledgement of its utter helplessness. Nanyang's surrender, swift and decisive, opened the path for Qin's relentless ambition. General Neishi Teng, wasting no moment, immediately directed his formidable forces northward, setting their sights directly on Xinjiang, the Han capital. The news of Nanyang's capitulation, without a prolonged struggle, sent a profound psychological shockwave through the Han court and the populace of Xinjiang. Already sapped by years of internecine conflict and the overwhelming shadow of Qin power, the demoralization within the capital was absolute. King An of Han, observing the rapid, unhindered advance of the Qin army and understanding the utter futility of mounting a meaningful defense, was left with no viable recourse. Protracted resistance would only invite total devastation for his people. In 230 BC, facing this stark reality, King An formally presented his surrender to the state of Qin. This act was momentous, marking the complete dissolution of a sovereign state, an unprecedented event in the brutal warring states period. Han, a kingdom that had endured for over 4 centuries, vanished from the map of independent polities. The direct military engagement at Nanyang thus yielded a peculiar outcome in terms of immediate losses. For Qin, the swift surrender meant negligible casualties, preserving valuable manpower and siege resources. For Han, capitulation spared the garrison and city inhabitants from the brutal realities of a full-scale assault, resulting in minimal combat deaths within Nanyang itself. However, while the fields around Nanyang did not run red, the political and existential casualties for the Han state were absolute. King An, the last ruler of Han, would soon be captured, imprisoned, and eventually executed, underscoring the uncompromising nature of Qin's unification. The Han aristocracy faced subjugation or displacement, their centuries-old influence vanishing overnight. Qin rapidly reorganized the conquered territory, establishing the crucial Nanyang Commandery and Yingchuan Commandery, significantly expanding its imperial domain and securing a vital gateway into central China. This campaign, therefore, marked not just a territorial shift, but the complete erasure of an ancient sovereign entity. The fall of Nanyang was not merely a territorial gain. It was the inaugural conquest of the Qin Unification Wars, setting a terrifying precedent for the other 6 warring states. The campaign against Han, launched with deliberate strategic precision, demonstrated with chilling clarity the Qin method. Not simply an overwhelming application of force, but a calculated combination of precise military movements and effective psychological warfare. The swift, almost bloodless collapse of the Han state, initiated by Nanyang's capitulation, definitively signaled the conclusion of the warring states period and heralded the beginning of the Qin dynasty's imperial ambitions. The psychological impact on the remaining states was profound and immediate. They now fully understood King Zheng's unwavering intentions and the formidable, methodical capability of his state. They had witnessed a sovereign entity, once a significant power, utterly dissolved from the map, its territory absorbed into the nascent Qin Empire. This was the blueprint for the next decade of conquest, a relentless, methodical extinction of independent kingdoms that would culminate in the unification of all under heaven, forging the first imperial dynasty of China under King Zheng, later known as Qin Shi Huangdi. The seemingly minor capitulation at Nanyang was, in retrospect, the moment the future of China was irrevocably cast. If you found this analysis compelling, share your thoughts on the fall of Han in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into history's pivotal moments.